Hello, I'm Professor Francis, and we're going to do some problems for our math class. Uh, Problems you see here are the ones we're going to work on. We're going to factor quadratic equations and find the perfect square. Okay, so we're going to use a technique called completing the square. So just watch how this is done. Okay, now for this technique, it's really great because we can solve a group of problems at one time. So here you see we have one, two, three, four, five. We're going to do all five of these, and here's how it's done. First thing we want to do is we want to make sure we have our columns set up so we can put all our information in it. So we're going to put three columns to the right of the page. I'm going to draw them right here. This one. Just need two lines. Okay. So the first column is just going to be our question number. Next column, we're going to put our value of b. We're dealing with quadratic equations. I'll explain what b is in a second. Third column, we had to compute a value of c. That's what completing square is adding that missing value of c. And how do we get that? We use this formula here. C equals open parenthesis b over 2 close parenthesis squared. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put something for reference above our quadratic equations, right? And that's just a general form of the quadratic equation. So the general form is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, right? And using this as reference, we can see what our b value is for each question. So let's put our question numbers in so we just don't get confused. Where we are, we try to keep them at the same level. 28 and 29. Okay, so for question number 25, we look at our b. The b value here is 2. Right, so we put that in the table. For question number 26, the b value is -4. Question number 27, the b value is 7. For question number 28, the b value is 1. And for question number 29, the b value is -3. All right, great. So now we're going to compute we collected all the b values at one time. Now we're going to compute all the c values using that value of b, because c equals the b over 2 squared. So we're just going to plug it in. C equals, for 25, c equals, open parenthesis, the b value is 2, so we're going to put 2 over 2 squared. For 26, c equals, open parenthesis, the b value is -4, so it's -4 over 2 squared. And all we do is we'll plug it in the b value for each of these questions. For 27, the b value is c equals, the b value is 7, so we're going to put 7 over 2, close parenthesis squared. For 28, the b value is 1, so we're going to put c equals, open parenthesis, b is 1 over 2, close parenthesis squared. For 29, we have the b value is -3, so we're going to put c equals, open parenthesis, the b value is -3 over 2, close parenthesis squared. Okay. Now we're going to take a quick look in this parenthesis for the c value, and if that fraction equals a whole number, we're going to rewrite it. Okay. If it does not equal a whole number, then we're going to leave it as is. So for 25, it's 2 over 2. That's 1. So it's c equals, open parenthesis, 1, close squared. Okay. For this one, it's for 26, it's -4 over 2. So the c value equals, -4 over 2 is -2. So it's going to be open parenthesis, -2, close parenthesis squared. For 27, this is 7 over 2. That's not a whole number. So we're going to leave that as is. Okay. For number 28, again, we have 1/2 inside the parenthesis. That's not a whole number. We're going to leave that. And for number 29, That's not a whole number, so we're going to leave that. Okay. Now that we computed all the c's for all the values, we're going to go ahead and complete the square. So what is completing a square again? All we're doing is adding the c value, right? What c value? The c values that we just computed over here. So for 25, we're going to say plus, and then we're going to use our c value that we have over here, 1 squared. So it's going to be open parenthesis 1, close parenthesis squared. For 26, the c value is -2, so we're going to go plus, and we're going to add that c value. Uh, Open parenthesis, -2, close parenthesis squared. For 27, we're just going to add the c value. Plus, open parenthesis, the c value is 7 over 2, close parenthesis squared. For number 28, c value is 1/2. We're going to say plus, we're going to add that c value. Open parenthesis, 1/2, close parenthesis squared. For number 29, again, we're going to add the c value, right? So it's plus, open parenthesis, and what we have over here is -3 over 2, close parenthesis squared. Okay, so we just completed the square for all these problems. One, two, three, four, five. 5 problems at one time, right? Now we're going to do the second thing. They say complete the square and factor. So we're going to factor this. Now keep in mind, when we complete the square, whenever we could use a calculated value of c, like here, use this formula, and add it to the equation to complete the square, we change the equation into what's called a perfect square trinomial. Now, why is that important? Because for a perfect square trinomial, right? Normally, when we factor a quadratic equation, we're going to write the brackets for 2 binomial factors, right? That's one binomial factor, and then we'll write the brackets for the other, right? So it's open, close, open, close. And then we'll plug in what the factors are. However, for this, for perfect square trinomial, the factors are going to be identical, right? For example, for this one, the factors are going to be x plus 1, right? And then it's going to be x plus 1. So they're identical. They're exactly the same, right? And there's a way that we can do this in mathematics. If we have the same thing multiplied by each other, we can write it as some raised to a power. For example, if I have x times x, right, I can just write that as x squared. Why? Because x squared means multiply this x by itself twice, right? So I don't have to write 2 brackets for this. I can just write 1 bracket. All right. So I can actually write this as this equals open bracket, close bracket, x. What's the x? What's the variable is x, right? And then I take what's inside the parenthesis here, plus 1, right? And then I just square the whole thing, square it on the outside. So I only need to write 1 bracket with a square on the outside for each one. So we're going to go and do that. Open bracket, close bracket, squared. For this one, open bracket, close bracket, squared for this one. Open bracket, close bracket, squared for this one. And open bracket, close bracket, squared for this one. Now all I need to do is put the terms inside the bracket. And we know how to do this, right? You pick the variable. What's the variable? The variable is the variable you see in the problem 26, right? So that's going to be x, right? And then what's the number, right? It's the number inside this bracket over here for the c value. That's -2, so it's -2. And that's it. That's how we factor it. This is complete now. We completed the square, like they say, and we have factored it. The factor is x minus 2. So let's go ahead and do the other 3. Okay, for this one, the variable is what? It's x, right? And then what's inside the bracket is positive 7/2, so we go plus 7 over 2. Done. Okay, let's do the next one. What's inside the bracket? X, and then it's 1/2, so it's plus 1/2. Done. Okay. In this bracket, what do we have? What's the variable? It's a, right? And then what's inside the bracket? Minus 3/2. Okay, guys. So we're done, right? We just completed all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 problems, right? And it's that simple. So when you do these, when you use the completing square factor, right, technique, you're going to use a table. You do all the problems one time. You collect all the B's at one time, and then you compute all the C's, and then you just add the C. You complete the square by adding the C to all of them, and then you factor, right? And the factoring is very simple. Remember that you don't put the two brackets like you normally do for when you're doing this technique. You only have to put the open bracket, closed bracket, and the square, right? So if you found this video helpful, please remember to like and subscribe, okay, so we can continue providing them. And I will see you guys on the next problem. Thank you.